Well, hi, welcome back. It's Julie at Cricket Leg Creative. Today I'm going to show you how I made this cute Z-fold spinner card for my dad's birthday coming up in December. Really easy with the use of digital paper. So I had a design in mind that I wanted to do for this card, but I didn't really have the things that I needed. I didn't have a wood background stamp or paper. So I thought I would check on Etsy, and I found a seller who had some basketball papers and in different color schemes, and I picked the blue one because my dad is a UNC Tar Heels fan, and I thought that would be perfect. So I just printed it out onto 8.5 by 11 front and back, just used Word to do it in, and then I cut the paper down to an A2 size, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm just taking the front flap of the card and folding it back on itself halfway across, and you get a Z fold. So that's the basis of our card. And then I'm going to be taking a die cut, a circle die cut, and just putting it over that front fold through my die cut machine to get the space for the spinner. I'm going to try to remember to put in the description the seller that I got the papers from, because I think it's, that she has multiple color schemes that you could probably match to different teams. So there you've got the circle cut out. That's where the spinner is going to live. So I'm using some scrap white paper, and I'm going to do a circle a little bit smaller than the circle I cut out of the front of the card, and that little white circle is going to go right there on the card just to give a little backdrop. That paper is kind of busy, and so I want you to be able to see the basketball. So I'm just using a basketball colored stamp pad. This one happens to be pumpkin pie from Stampin' Up. Just any basketball color. You could even do the colors that match the team you like. So then I'm just cutting out right on the edge, or trying to. I did not do a great job on those. And I'm just running the edges across the stamp pad that I used to stamp them with, just to kind of get rid of any white edges that I might not have gotten. And, you know, the white edge of the paper when you cut it. So now it's time to put the basketballs together. I've just got regular old office double stick tape, and I'm just making sure that it stays within the confines of the shape there. Putting a couple pieces down, and I'm just using sewing thread. It's not even white. It's kind of a super pale blue, but you can hardly even tell. And cutting a length of thread and just putting it across on the sticky part of of the first basketball. And then I'm going to put another piece of tape over it just in case, because I want to make sure that thread's really sandwiched in there. And just kind of lining them up so that they're somewhat similar, the shapes front and back. Any symmetrical item stamp will work for this, as long as you have enough space in the hole that you cut in the card. So now I'm going to position that white backer piece there, just lining it up kind of with the edge there, with a border around that cut edge from the front of the card. And now I'm going to put in my sentiment. Now I don't have a lot of like sports sentiments or anything, and I knew exactly what I wanted for this, so I printed off in my word processor, and I had a little template that I checked it ahead of time with to get the centering right, the positioning right. But I wanted to use kind of a varsity script, and I wanted to have a ball part to be hidden behind the front of the card, and the It's Your Birthday to be on the other side. So I kind of finagled that ahead of time. I've really been enjoying printing out exactly what I want from my printer. Now it does limit you some, because obviously you're not going to be able to do like white lettering on black cardstock. But for what I'm using it for this purpose, I think it works perfectly. So just putting it in there exactly where I want it, and I'll trim that side off. You can see that that's the back side of that is one of the failed attempts at where that was going to go. So I've got the front folded completely down, and I'm just going to use Scotch tape. This paper is busy enough that I feel like it hides the Scotch tape. You could certainly use a liquid adhesive that you like. I don't really have one right now that is strong enough to hold that thread in place the way I would like it to. I did test a couple of adhesives that I have, and I wasn't happy with what I had, so I'm just using Scotch tape and just rubbing it down really, really well to make sure it grabs that thread. Really should have done one log piece right there, but I don't think you can even tell with the finished card that there's two pieces of tape meeting up there. And then I'm just going to trim off any excess tape and thread, and the spinner part is complete. So all you do to prepare the card is just spin the item around in one direction and then hold it down, and then when the person opens it, the item will spin, which was kind of fun. So I'm playing with it a few times here because it really is kind of fun to watch it spin. And a ball, because a ball is symmetrical, is kind of a perfect item to use, a stamped image to use for that. I decided I wanted to put some white paper on the back of the card so I would have somewhere to write something to my dad and to sign the card. So I just took a scrap really quick and glued it to the back, and I'll just trim off the excess from that. This is actually my very first spinner card. I've been wanting to try one for months and months, but this was a nice way to start with the digital paper, and it came together really, really quickly. So I'm really happy with it, and I think my dad's really going to love it because it's going to look like UNC colors, and he'll just think it's great. Hey, thanks for joining me. I hope you'll give me a thumbs up and come back and see my next video. Y'all take care.